Hello friends, happy Thursday. Hope you are doing well. We're just gonna give it a second, let people get notified that we are live. And I want to remind you that the plan has been to go live on Monday mornings, Monday morning for me, which is Monday afternoon for most of you. With a live mindset tip, and then to go live on Thursdays with additional tips and information. So I am going to say hello to all of you. And just as a reminder, Monday we had some personal stuff going on, so I wasn't able to go live. I apologize for that. But I really wanted to jump in here today and talk about something that I got a question about last week. And I've had a lot of stuff going on, again, personal stuff going on over the last several days. And so I wasn't able to respond via email, but I thought that it would be really good for me to talk about this because this is a question that is a very valid question, and it's something that many of you are probably thinking. Okay, so this is actually piggybacking off of last Thursday's live stream that I did, where I was talking about the 2 points of change that typically happen. And so the 2 points of change that I discussed last week were sort of this idea of changing because you absolutely have to, and I'm calling that sort of survival-based or survival-inspired training. Or the other one, which is like thriving, right? Like you're in a good place and you want to kind of get better, right? You want to move on. So those two inspiration reasons that you want to change your life or your circumstance are really interesting, and they're very, very different. And as I talked about in last Thursday's video, and if you haven't seen that, I want to encourage you to go down and check that out. You can go to the video section of my page and make sure you check that out. It's also listed on YouTube, okay? But the reason that it's important that you understand the difference between these two is because this survival-based, the survival-inspired change typically comes from what you might call a rock bottom moment, right? It's when, things get so bad that you have no choice but to change. You get to a point where you absolutely have to change. And I used the example last week of going to the doctor doing some tests and saying, hey, you've got this massive issue, you've let it go on for too long, and now you have to change it or else, right? And that is one of those like, oh my goodness, come to Jesus moments where you absolutely have to change or else something really, really bad is going to happen, okay, or potentially happen. So a lot of people live in that place. And there are other people who live in the place of you get to change your life when you choose to. You don't have to wait for it to get really bad. It's kind of like when we're talking about money, you don't have to wait for all your money to run out before you earn more. Like you can earn and make and invest and create and all of that, right? So the most powerful place that you can come from when it comes to your change and creating change in your life, the most empowered place is coming from the thrive inspired. Like things are good, you're stable, you feel good, generally in life, and you're ready to make the shift and change, to more, to something better, to something bigger. And the question I got last week was, how do you make that shift from changing from this survival place to changing from a thriving place, okay? And I want to point out before I answer that question that there is nothing wrong with either of those options, right? Change is important. If you want to change, that is the key. But I want you to know that you don't have to wait for that survival place in order to make the change, okay? So how do you make that shift? The very beginning of this, the very first thing that you need to understand is that you have a choice, that you always have choices, right? You don't have to wait for some permission, some external, person or thing or event to create a circumstance for you to change. You get to change because you decide to. It just so happens that in those survival moments, it really pulls at us in a different way that causes us to get up and move, to stop the cycle of whatever's been going on. So the way you get out of that is you practice it. If you are in a place of survival right now and you're saying, I absolutely have to change my circumstance, whatever it is. Maybe it's a living arrangement, maybe it's a job situation, maybe it's a relationship situation, maybe it's a business thing or a money thing. If you are in that place, I want to ask you to look at your options. Now, they may not be options that you like, they may not be options that you love, but I want you to look at the choices available to you. Look at what you can potentially do. So if it's a situation where you need to, like your living arrangement, and you need to move, what options do you have? Is there a friend that you can, temporarily stay with? Is the possibility for you to go home, right? Do you have the opportunity to get a roommate or, bunk up with someone or have someone move in with you? Like whatever your circumstance is, you always have choices. And then whatever choices that you do have, I want you to look at each of them and I want you to ask yourself, which choice are you deciding to get yourself behind? Like I said, you may not like all the choices. You may look at this option and this option and this option and go, I don't like any of them. I don't want to have to move back home. I don't want to have a roommate. I don't want to have to go move into a smaller place. I don't like any of those things, right? So you can choose one of those things or you can choose to stay where you are. That is also a choice. The key to moving from these survival choices and these survival inspired changes is to practice the empowerment, right? And what that means is you get yourself behind whatever choice you're making. And I literally had a conversation with a client today. I sent a video message about some options that she has, right? Because I want you all to understand that you have options. You have options to do this, that, or the other, or you have the option to stay where you are currently and believe and trust and wait for something better to come along. These are your options. But the question isn't which is the right one, because there's not a right or wrong. And that's something I need you to understand. There's not a right answer versus a wrong answer. There's not a right path versus a wrong path. There's not the thing that's going to get you to everything that you ever desire and then this thing that's going to send you over a cliff and ruin your life. It's not how this works, okay? These are choice points. You have an opportunity to choose any of them and you can still thrive. But the energy with which you make those decisions is important. Don't do it from a place of lack. Don't do it from a place of fear. Don't do it from a place of, this is the worst thing that I could ever do. Don't do it from, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is my rock bottom moment. I don't want this, but I'm going to choose that anyway. Do it from a place of choice and decision, because you are more powerful than you realize. Okay? Whatever energy you have as you move forward with any choice, any decision, any job that you take, any relationship that you get into, any investment that you make, is going to impact that circumstance. I want you to listen to that again. The energy that you have, the belief that you have, the mindset that you have as you are moving forward in these choices, decisions, when you decide to move into a place, when you decide to invest in getting support, whatever your circumstance is, whatever decision you're making, if you do it from a place of lack, if you do it from a place of fear, if you do it from a place of not enough, if you do it from a place of, this is going to ruin my life, it's going to impact what comes next. And it's not necessarily going to be pretty. And it doesn't mean that you can't change it later. It just means it's easier if you change it ahead of time. Okay? So when I get the question that says, how do you move from survival decisions and choices and change to empowered choices and decisions and change, you get behind yourself. You get behind yourself with the belief, because there's whatever it is that you're choosing to do, and I want you to hear that you're choosing it, right? Not that you have no choice and you have to do this thing. I want you to actually think and feel and tune into the fact that you choose this. And when you do that, get yourself behind it in whatever way you need to do that. And a lot of that is going to require your mind to get behind that decision. Okay? And again, it may not be what you like, but this practice of empowered thinking, this choice, this decision, this practice of getting behind yourself and making these decisions is where your Thrive-inspired decisions, your Thrive-inspired change is going to come, because you are in control, because you get to choose. Because no matter how bad it seems, no matter how hard it gets, you aren't going to be boxed into nothingness. You always have a choice. You always have a decision. And regardless of what they are, again, you may not like this option or that option or the next, but you can get yourself behind one of them. And it starts with this. Okay? And sometimes, and I think this is important to talk about, sometimes those three options that you have, I mean, clearly, they're not all there is. There are other options, there are other solutions that are out there. But you have to get behind yourself to be able to wait for those. Does that make sense? So it's really, really important that you understand that you have the power. And I know that there are circumstances and there are situations in life, and my God, we've been in this pandemic, in this crazy world, right, for years now. And it can feel like our power is being taken from us. But every single day you have the opportunity to choose what you do. I have a free audio. I'm going to be re-recording it and sort of freshening it up. But I have a free audio that talks about how to break free from stuck. And one of the things that I need you to understand is that even when you feel stuck, you aren't stuck. That is not like who you are. You feel stuck, which means you also have choice. You also have power. There are things that you can do to change your circumstance. You have more power than you realize. You have more power than you realize. And my job as a mindset coach, as an empowerment coach, is to continually share that with you and to remind you that you already have it. I talk to my clients about this all the time. You already have the power. You don't need anyone to come and gift it to you. You have it. And it begins with your choice. So one thing that you will hear me say often as I'm working with clients one-on-one or in groups is, what do you choose? Not what you feel forced into, not what you feel pressed for, not what you feel like you have to do, but what do you choose to do? Because that is where your power lies. You get to choose how you think, you get to choose where you focus, you get to choose what actions to take, you get to choose. And that is the beginning of moving into that thriving, inspired change. It's that empowered change. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. And if this is something that you're saying, I need that, how do I do that? How do I do that consistently? How do I remember that? Then, getting on my email list is going to be a great way, because I'm constantly sending out information and tools. If you're looking for support, one-on-one specifically, to get you from this survival mode into thriving mode, if you want to go from like, I have to change all of these things, to I get to change all of these things, and I'm choosing this expansion and I'm choosing this empowerment, then I want to invite you to, number one, join my email list. And I will include a link of where you can do that in the comments. And then number two, reach out. Let's see if we are a good fit to work together. I will tell you that I have For January, I have a very special program that is, different from my signature program. It's a bit smaller in size. It's a third of my regular investment, and it is something that is going to change and transform your thinking and your life in ways that you never imagined. That's something I hear constantly from clients. Number one is that investing in themselves and doing this work with me is the best choice that they've ever made, which is incredible. But aside from that, that they are living a life, that they have results in their lives that are better than they ever imagined possible. And I want you to think about what that means for you. What you're thinking about, the changes that you want to make, the relationships that you want to have, the money you want to make, the business you want to have, whatever it is for you. Imagine what might be beyond that. That is the business that I am in. That is the work that I can help you do. Okay? My job is to help you go beyond what you thought was possible and to unlock and remind you of the power that you already have. I'm like the fairy godmother and you're Dorothy, right? I'm here to remind you that you already have that power and to celebrate with you as you celebrate this promotion or business success or book or new home or relationship, whatever it is that you're doing. That is what my job is. So if that's something that you want to get on board with, if you're interested in it, if you want to kind of try it on for size and see what all of this is about, I'm going to include the link to join my email list, and you'll get a free gift to join as well. So I'm going to include that below. And then I'm also going to include just a link for you to have a chat with me if you're interested. I still have that program available if you are interested in jumpstarting 2022 and you want to get some support, and we can talk about what that looks like, okay? But I want you to know that you have the power already to change your life. Coaching or investing in a coach, whether it's me or someone else, is just going to get you there faster. Because you're going to have someone who can see things that you can't see. You're going to have a voice in your ear reminding you of how powerful you are. And you're going to have very specific, strategic, and powerful tools to fill your toolbox that you can whip out as needed, during the process of the program and beyond. That's what coaching can do for you. It changes your life. It takes you from what you thought was possible and well beyond that. Okay? So, hope this was helpful for you. If you have questions for me, feel free to post them below. Again, this whole empowerment thing is about practice. Mindset is about practice. It is about remembering. It is about learning to be your own champion. It's about supporting yourself. And that is the business that I am in. I am here to remind you how powerful you are. Not just remind you, but to help you literally unlock that. So if that's something you need in your life, if you're looking at 2022 and you've got some big dreams or decisions to make and you want to really feel empowered, then I encourage you to reach out. My special program for January is open through Monday, and I've got a couple spots left. So I'm going to include all the links below. Let me know if you have questions. If you just jumped on, make sure that you check out the replay, and definitely check out the video that I did last Thursday that kind of gives the background to today's video. Okay? All right, friends, I hope this is helpful. If you are not already one of my followers, if you are not on my email list, make sure you go to the comments and follow, okay? I've got lots of cool stuff that I only share with my online community, my VIP community, so make sure you get in there, okay? All right, friends, have a fabulous Thursday. I will be back on Monday, Mindset Tip Monday live, okay? Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will chat with you soon. Bye, guys.